From the Middle is proud to be a founding member of the Odd Pods Media Network. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 112 of From the Middle. We are three middle-class guys living in the middle of America in the middle chapters of our lives with a point of view that is somewhere in the middle. For those of you who have just found us for the first time, we tend to talk about things that we enjoy talking about. Everything from pop culture to comedy to music to food to geek culture. You name it, we enjoy it. And as we do so, we try to do it in a way that is interesting enough to be a fly on the wall listening in, but we also invite you to interact. There's various ways you can do that. Details are found in the description. You can call us. You can find us in our up-and-coming Facebook group called From the Middle for the Middlers. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about everything from Space Jam to Loki to Atypical to comedy specials and YouTube videos, things that we have been watching and consuming recently, giving some recommendations, giving some thoughts, talking about LeBron James. And yes, we do talk about food, as we sometimes do. Roll that beautiful bean music.
Oh, for the love. Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole.
I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it?
You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved. From the Middle after dark over here.
Hey, everybody. Good to be here. How you guys doing?
Awesome.
We're back.
We're
I'm
back.
back. I'm being fueled by Royal New York Cheesecake Blizzard. So as long as you guys want to record that, I'm good. Do you know you can keep asking for extra stuff and they'll just
keep asking.
keep shoveling toppings in? Did you know that?
Like you're staring them in the eye, just almost daring them.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and put some more of that cheesecake in there?
Well, the great thing is when something has multiple ingredients, it's not just like ice cream with one topping. When you say, I want all the extra stuff, they're like, of like one ingredient or like all of them? And I'm like, yeah, all of them. Like I want extra of all of it. Put it all extra in there.
Now, you're not talking strawberry cheese quake. You're talking Royal Cheesecake Blizzard.
The Royal New York Strawberry Cheesecake Blizzard with like the core down through the middle that's made of strawberries. And then it's got like cheesecake. So when I say extra stuff, it's like they've got to do all of it. And so that flipping over the Blizzard has a whole new meaning when they've jammed that much extra ingredient in it. And so I'm riding high and I'll be crashing as soon as we're done. So this is great.
We need a visual.
Are we getting?
Me too.
Yeah.
It's like the Earth, but an ice cream. You've got the crust is the non-edible cup. I don't know how Dillon does things.
Yeah.
But the cup is traditionally non-edible.
Right.
And you've got the mantle there of ice cream and a core of strawberry.
I'm doing my best over here to try to stay regular, so I hold off on the cups. But and of course, a real Blizzard, the strawberry core never looks that clean. It's really just like 6 randomly placed like pieces of strawberry in the cup.
Sure.
But it's delicious, and I'm riding high.
You know what's funny is I tried to go to Dairy Queen for lunch one time, and their fry machine was broken. Story of my life. I'm like, why is the fry machine broken?
That was really good, man. That one got
They were
me.
like, none of us know how to clean it.
Yep.
That was awesome. Do you guys ever go and order multiple Blizzards? Maybe you're with your family or friends. And
Or I'm just
second,
ordering multiple Blizzards.
by the second Blizzard, you're like, yeah, we get it. You don't need to turn it upside down. Just give me the
When you're my size and you go in to do something like that, you spend your time trying to subconsciously convince them that these aren't all for me.
Yeah. I can relate to that. I mean, it is, but I'd rather them think that it's not, to be fair. You know, if there weren't so many jerks in the world who hassle those $7 an hour people over flipping the thing upside down, I'd be like, look, you don't have to. But I get it. They're doing it because they're like, if I don't, my manager's going to talk to me after my shift. I don't get paid for that. and then I'm going to have to go on probation. They're going to dock me 2 hours of pay. I'm going to get written up the second time. If the third time it happens, I'm going to have to go find another minimum wage job. Like, I get it. They're like, I just want to go home and play video games. I don't want to deal with any of this.
What you could do is just tell them, no, you don't. Seriously, you've had a long day. You don't need to do the flip thing. And so they don't, and then they hand it to him. You're like, so it's like free now, right?
I think that's how it's supposed to be. Oh, that's awesome. Speaking of things that you can eat that we're very excited about, in case you missed it last week, we here at From the Middle are extremely excited about our new partnership with Stello Mints. These are CBD mints in a wonderful tin, really quality product that just launched. We're on the leading edge of this hitting the market. 3 flavors: matcha, that's a tea flavor, peppermint, and lemon. And really, really good. There's around 5 milligrams of hemp extract per mint. They're 100% legal. They can be shipped to you. And we're really excited to work with these guys. 2 really, really cool guys that started this company. And it's like less than 2 months old. So let's really wow them with a bunch of orders. Go to Stello Mints, STELLO mints.com. Fill your cart and use promo code The Middle at checkout to get 10% off of each order. You can get a one pack tin, or if you get a 3-pack, you save a little money on each. So there's a little volume discount as well. So thank you, Stello. Really excited to work with you guys and wanted to get that in at the top. So what else is going on with you guys?
Well, I want to say too, real quick, for the eyebrow raisers out there, that like these are like, see, Dillon, if you're doing the Dillon eyebrow, listen, go to stellomints.com, do some reading. And because there is no THC, like you're not going to get high off of these things. Like that's not what this is. It is something else entirely. Their website has good information. That's all.
Yeah. Let me show you exactly where you can get that, actually.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's by the way, their whole packaging thing is like on point. It's such a nice experience from opening getting it and opening it and taking the mints. And so I was excited to partner with them. Frankly, in the FAQ, if you're on YouTube, the FAQ is right there on their website. Go ahead and check it out. I was curious about some of the ways that they find it's most beneficial. And so I mentioned this last week, but I think it's worth mentioning. So I'm in sales, so I can get on. I have some very important like presentations and calls and webinars and things that I do. And so one of the use cases that they talked about that made sense to me was that exact situation. So if you have any situations or build up as part of your workday where you might want something to help you kind of relax, that little sort of anxious buildup in your stomach as you're working towards those important parts of the day. I took a couple before a few calls, and it totally just helped me focus and relax and do what I needed to do. So it was an awesome experience. And I think for me, that's the best way to describe it. It's an awesome experience that happens to be in the form factor of a mint that you can throw in your jeans or your coat or your car or whatever. So that's just a little bit from my point of view, but yeah, awesome website. Go check the guys out. Super nice dudes and really great product. We're super excited to partner with them. Frankly, I'm flattered, and I feel like they shouldn't even have wanted to partner with us. It's super cool that they did. Yeah. Don't tell them I said that, because they're going to pull the partnership.
Right.
So y'all go out there and prove us wrong.
Yeah,
right.
Prove us wrong. Go get a 3 or 5 pack.
I think the thing I liked in some of their marketing material, it says, quiet your mind. And that's for me is exactly it. So let's just really show them how much our listeners follow those call to actions, and let's support them. It helps us, it helps them, and it'll definitely help you. So that's enough of the hard promo on Stello. But again, we are genuinely excited about it. So I wanted to fill you guys in. A couple weeks ago, I think it was episode 110, I talked about how I discovered a flying man in my backyard.
Yes.
And it's where I learned about this thing called paramotoring. So I'm a part of a neighborhood Facebook group just for my neighborhood. And somebody asks the question in the neighborhood group, What's with the guy flying overhead with a box fan strapped to his back, dangling from a shower curtain? And everybody's like, oh, he's been doing that for years. And that's this guy. Yeah, I think he works at the hardware store. So just as a follow-up from that story, I think I'm going to try to track this guy down and get him as a guest on the podcast. I don't know if it'll be a regular episode or one of our side episodes that we affectionately refer to as tangents. But I would love to do a deep dive into paramotoring and learn about how this guy got into it and how dangerous it really is. I don't know that I'm researching it for the intention of maybe doing it one day, but I also wouldn't rule that out. I think it looks fascinating, and I would actually do it, assuming I was comfortable enough and had been properly trained. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I just want to talk more to these guys. But apparently there's a whole Central Ohio powered paragliders group that he's a part of, and like it's this little, yeah, it's like we talked to Samson last week about finding your community, right? And so it's like these guys have found their community in powered paragliding. I love it.
I feel like by the time somebody gets around to start like telling people, I don't know, that means that they're pretty committed.
Yeah.
Like it's you ordered a giant box fan from Amazon, didn't you?
No, apparently I did look into like what the initial investment is, right? Like if you were to just start this up.
Of course you did. Yeah.
If you were to just and the answer that the YouTuber, so not the guy that was flying above my neighborhood, but the YouTuber I talked about before, Tucker got, the way he answers it is it's usually about what you would have invested in like a new motorcycle. So anywhere from $8,000 to $13,000. No, I'm not trading the motorcycle for the equipment, but
you're modifying the motorcycle.
Dude, there you go.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was the update on paramotoring, and I keep watching Tucker Gott videos. Dillon's frozen.
Oh, geez. Or he's
Kendall,
playing a trick on us.
Kendall, what's up with you, man?
Dude. So, so I had my first movie experience since COVID.
Yeah.
Isaac, my oldest son, he's 6, almost 7. We went to go see Space Jam on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, which was fun. And I mean, loads of people there, and I did not know that was actually opening night for Space Jam, which is why the theater was pretty well full. But even at that, for relatively speaking, like a movie on opening night, and I was able to buy tickets like a half hour before it started.
Yeah.
So that's still not something that I would have been able to count on before COVID. But yeah, we went and saw Space Jam, and I enjoyed it. I think he did too, but he was also just all about being in a movie theater, and he's only been, I think, once before. And so
I'm dying to ask what that felt like for you. Like there's 2 questions for me. One, how did it feel for you being back in a theater? And then what did you think of the movie? So you kind of already answered the second.
Yeah, being back in the theater was fine. Like I didn't have like the feels or anything like that. I mean, I see like a few movies a year.
Sure.
But no, it was good. I do have a pro move, which is bringing a neck pillow with me to the theater. And I had Isaac brought a little pillow that's shaped like a butterfly. He brought that with him. So we had our pillows, and we bought some snacks and stuff. The movie, I thought, was pretty good. I think that if Isaac had not had just the novelty of being in a movie theater, it was just like super amped up about that fact, I'm not sure that he would have enjoyed it as much as I did. But part of that is because of who I think the movie was made for, and who it wasn't made for. And thinking back about what the original Space Jam was like when I was younger and watched it in the 90s, and I don't know. I liked it. It's one of those movies where if you do the reading, like critics hate it. but people watching it and coming out of the box office all love it. It has great scores from them.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where the critics and the regular people like you and I don't agree with each other.
There are a lot of memes going around about, the classic debate is who's the better basketball player, Michael Jordan or LeBron. And now it's who's the better actor in Space Jam, Michael Jordan or LeBron. Yeah. Right. So how do you think he did?
Yeah, I think he did really well. I think he's a much better comedic actor than Michael Jordan is.
Yeah.
I do. So I think they actually flip on those two questions. I think Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time basketball player.
Yeah.
LeBron James hasn't beaten acting. So good job, LeBron.
Well, I'm glad you guys got that father-son time in and that's cool. I haven't seen it yet. But I'm excited to check it out. I actually, hey, Dillon's back. I know we're gonna talk about some other content we've been consuming. Dillon, just to get you caught up, Kendall just talked about going to Space Jam, and so we were talking about being back in the theater, seeing Space Jam, and that Michael Jordan is the better basketball player, but LeBron James was better in Space Jam.
Yeah, sorry, the sugar rush ended. I passed out and drooled all over my router. So turns out that's bad for recording. I'm so glad that we started talking about movies. We had an awesome guest last week, but we haven't talked like any kind of entertainment in what feels like ages.
I know.
So MJ better basketball player, but LeBron held his own.
LeBron held his own, yeah.
All right.
Not only held his own, but like I said, I think he's MJ seemed awkward, and he was there for effect on the original Space Jam, and it was cool because it was Michael Jordan. LeBron James is actually, I think, decent at being a comedy actor.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not great, but
some people would say it's
better.
because he's gotten so much acting practice on the basketball court, faking injuries.
Oh, well, yeah, there's that.
There's been a lot of those memes flying around.
Yeah, I wouldn't hold that against him.
And they've all knocked LeBron over.
And how was the theater experience?
It was good. It was busy because it was opening night, but I mean, it was fine. They're still not at 100% capacity, and so like our technical assigned seats, they were the recliners, but they weren't plugged in or something, and so they weren't working, and so we were still able to just like scooch over to working seats.
Yeah. Non-working seats is like getting the Blizzard that hasn't been flipped over. It's just not the same experience.
Yeah.
I found myself today actually describing a movie theater to my 3.5-year-old because I realized that term hasn't even really come up since she could have any kind of conversation. Because the last 1.5 years we haven't been going to movies, and she's 3.5. And so I'm describing a theater to her using really big words, like not long words, but like lots of energy. Like there's a whole huge wall that's one massive screen, just to like hype it up as much as possible. So, and then I was trying to show her YouTube videos of the inside of a theater, but that's pretty anticlimactic when you're trying to describe a massive room with tons of seats and a huge screen. So we're gonna have to pick a movie and go to something this year.
Speaking of
Paw Patrol movie coming out this year, right?
Yeah. Speaking of theaters, a week and a half ago, our neighbors invited us over. So they built a wooden wall in their backyard. So it's a permanent structure just for a roll down screen to play movies in the backyard. Nice. And they did it last year, but we haven't been able to catch a flick over there. So they said, hey, if you haven't seen it yet, we're going to watch Black Widow on the screen outside. And nice. The wife had gone to the grocery store and gotten movie theater snacks and candy and popcorn and had a whole cooler full of pop. and invited all of us over to watch Black Widow. And so we watched it outside under the stars with really quality sound on a pretty big screen in their backyard. And it was very sweet and thoughtful of them, and really enjoyed Black Widow. It's up there in my top couple for MCU movies, and I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but really, really well done. Very action packed. They resolved the story nicely, but also lots of connective tissue to other things, and lots of ways that things could go, and just really, really cool. So loving it.
Nice.
I can't wait to see it. Yeah, it's one of those where I thought about actually paying for Premiere Access, but I thought this doesn't impact the future. Well, in any major way, it shouldn't impact that I'm aware of the future of the MCU, because it's kind of a prequel story. And so I thought this would be one that's okay to skip until it hits Disney Plus. But like by Shang-Chi in September, I'm going to have to go see that, because I think there's still 3 more Marvel movies that come out this year, and we're halfway through.
Yeah.
So we've got Shang-Chi, Eternals, and Spider-Man 3. So it's going to be easy to fall behind, and so I'm going to have to go see Shang-Chi, but I'll wait, because I think Black Widow should hit Disney Plus in about October.
Interesting assumption you started with there. That's just interesting.
Well,
That's all I'm going to say. That's just interesting. I'm not going to give anything away. I'm just going to say it's interesting.
It certainly could like have an impact, but overall, as far as the main arc of the movie is based on a character that we already know.
Hey, listen, all Kory is saying is watch Black Widow before you see Mandalorian season 3.
I'm going to watch them all. It won't matter anyways. So
Yeah.
I'm here for all of it.
Speaking of the future side content that may happen regarding paramotoring, Dillon, you just did a wonderful tangent with your buddy Brad Higginbotham, and we're on the Marvel track. So anything we want to say about Loki without going too deep?
Yeah, so I was prepared for a beautiful, smooth segue right after you mentioned tangents until I passed out from my sugar crash. Yes, episode 2 of Tangents is now on our YouTube channel. If you don't know where that is, first of all, shame on you for not subscribing yet. But any of our social media pages, we should have a Linktree account that can take you over to YouTube. And we have 2 kinds of bonus content. Mid-bits are like super short and sweet behind the scenes. And tangents are for when basically Kory and Kendall don't want me to talk about Marvel and Star Wars for too long on a podcast episode.
That's not true.
That is not true.
Tangents were created. Tangents were created, but that's not why exclusively. The idea behind tangents are the ability to just deep dive one particular subject. But if you're on YouTube, you can see they're 40 to 50 minutes. So like, we don't want to do that in the middle of a podcast episode when people are here for other things, but it's super fun. So the first 2 tangents episodes were me and my buddy Brad, and who's also a big Marvel and Star Wars geek. And tangents will be at least any one of us hosts going on a tangent about one subject for as long as we want to go on. And it was a ton of fun. So there's one for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we just posted one for the finale of Loki, which we haven't had a chance to talk about because we had an awesome guest last week. So I'll give you my short and sweet. Loki has been my favorite Disney Plus miniseries so far. Absolutely loved it. You've got, Tom Hiddleston, who anybody who's a big Marvel fan was excited to see him come back. We're going to get a season 2 of Loki. Sorry, a little bit of a spoiler alert there. But you've also got characters like totally stealing the show. And I won't go too deep, but it's not necessarily Owen Wilson. Who is in the show and is on the poster, and that's not a spoiler.
What are you talking about?
Was tons of fun. But we've got some other characters really stealing the show, and it was so much fun. And so I love Loki. I thought it was great. The soundtrack is great. Like, go on Spotify and just shuffle the soundtrack because it's tons of fun. And I'm just really, really excited that it's the first show that we're aware of that's getting a season 2 that is a Disney Plus exclusive. So, it was great. Go check out the tangents if you want to hear my more long form answer. But then we've even got more we had timey-wimey, whatever Doctor Who says. We've got wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey, whatever stuff happening in Loki. And then we've got the What If animated
It's complicated.
series. It is so
as all get out. Got to pay attention.
We're going to have some funky stuff happen probably in What If and Doctor Strange, a Multiverse of Madness. It's going to be wild. So I'm excited about what the next phase of the MCU is teeing up. This is going to be good.
I think they did a really good job of messing with time in the series in a way that is consumable. Sometimes when you're playing with time and quantum physics in a movie or a TV show, I cannot wrap my brain around it, because then you go, wait, but that wouldn't have happened if. And so I think you just normally have to just take it at face value. And it's like, my dumbed down version is like, well, if the characters seem upset about it, then that must be how I'm supposed to feel, right? But this, I thought they made it, they did some of those things in a way, and I don't think I'm getting spoilery here. They did those things in a way that like you could track with the gist of the concepts they were covering. And so, I mean, yes, there's a ton of questions about what things mean and what might be next, but I think they did it in a pretty good way. And your discussion, Dillon, with Brad was really, really, really good. So I highly recommend that if people enjoyed the show and would like to hear more discussion about it, check out that Tangents episode. And yeah, really well done, man.
Thank you. Well, and to Marvel's credit, they were easing us into this whole idea of time manipulation in Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we took a long break with COVID, we came back and WandaVision was teasing that out a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
And then we took a little bit of a break with Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then we're back into it. And we're going to be into the thick of it from now, even if the movies this year don't directly jump into it, which I'm sure they will. We're going to be into the thick of some of that for a while, at least until Multiverse of Madness, and then with the new potential big baddie. So I think they did a really good job at easing us into that with Endgame, even with the original schedule and how it was planned, because, we have that element of time travel for the Avengers and how they're going to work, or, deal with Thanos. And we start getting like just dabbled into that. And so I think they did a nice job. And by the time you hit Loki, you're like, I don't care. I just want to see where this thing goes.
Yeah.
So wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. And here we are enjoying the next Marvel show.
No shortage of content there. We're excited to talk a little bit more about some of the other things we've been watching and enjoying and geek out a little bit further. But first, we'd like to hear from some of our friends in the Odd Pods Media Network.
I'm Rob.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Joe.
I love it.
I think it's kind of meh.
And I've never seen it.
We're keeping up with the Cardassians.
A podcast covering 7 seasons of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
But that's not it. We go down the wormhole
Of pop culture, life, and Garrick
New episodes every Monday.
on your favorite podcasting platforms. You can also interact with the show on Twitter at CardassiansPod.
And just like the Ferengi, we can't wait to stroke your lobes.
Hey, I'm Pantsless Aaron.
This is Stevie.
And I'm Augie. And we are BFYTW, a podcast all about playing games and having fun. Our games are usually based on British panel shows and game shows, but we'll play anything that captures our attention and imagination. Why? It's right there in the title.
You'll never guess what the F stands for.
That is, honestly, you guys, that's one of the best podcasts on planet Earth. So speaking of blizzards, I think it might be fun to talk about a show that isn't Marvel or Star Wars related. And I've been trying to venture out and, explore some other things. I've got some things in my Netflix and Hulu queues that I've wanted to check out for a while. And this has become like a tradition where I try to spend as much time with the family as possible, get a little bit of freelance work done in the evening times. And then 10, 11 o'clock, I wind down with a show before bed. First off, I got to say, we've talked about stand-up comedy a lot on the show, and Bo Burnham's special Inside on Netflix is superb. People are throwing the word masterpiece around online, tons of 5-star reviews. And interestingly, a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
So he filmed this in one room, did all the AV stuff himself during COVID. And if you know anything about Bo Burnham, he got his start on YouTube, kind of a comedy musician. It's like a piece of art that explores his own mental health during COVID, but it's also hilarious. And he's also talking about the internet and the ways that social media is like destroying all of us, but like in a funny, satirical sort of way. It's just really well done. As you know, he's a very, very good musician who writes all of his own stuff and does the keyboard. And I highly recommend it. If you like stand up and like artsy fartsy kind of comedy meshed with real life serious topics, it's good. So back to the DQ and the Royal Blizzard connection, there's another Netflix show called Sweet Tooth. You guys know anything about Sweet Tooth? Have you heard at all about it? Or
I've only seen like the image and the description. That's it.
Yeah, so this is another one that's loosely COVID related, but it's a post-apocalyptic world, and a sort of virus has hit and is taking out a significant portion of the population, and people need to wear masks, and there's this vaccine that's been able to sort of keep it at bay, but supply of that is running low. And at the same time this virus hit, every child born from that moment on is born half animal. So they're called hybrids, and it sounds very silly. But if you all are into post-apocalyptic storylines, it follows this very sweet little boy who's half deer. And I'm just imagining our dad listening to me tell this premise. It's like when we described Guardians of the Galaxy and we're like, well, there's a tree and a raccoon. And he's like, wait, what? Not that all of our listeners are my dad, but that just popped into my head and I couldn't help but mention it. Anyways, it's actually I'm halfway through. It's very bingeable. It's a fun, imaginative sort of fantasy. And yeah, it's getting also really, really good reviews. So
I had not heard of it. I was thinking it was going to be like some kind of a British game show. And then you started describing it. I'm like, oh, okay. And then half deer, half baby children.
I know, man.
And I don't know what to think now, other than I have to see it.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the name of the SNL actor that plays the dad. Hold on.
And this is just like a suspense drama, or is it comedy? Because I could see this going.
It's suspense. It's suspense drama.
Yeah.
Oh, where is he at on the thing? Oh, Will Forte is the dad of the boy, and he's so good. He's such a sweet, cool dad. So it was Robert Downey produced it, and yeah, it's very. The music and the look of it is very hipstery, kind of cool. Here, I'm just going to share the screen, some screenshots. I'm just rambling.
Yeah, you're fine.
Here he is.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
so
Sweet Tooth.
Kid who looks like he came out of the 80s.
Yeah. And there's Will Forte as his dad.
Yeah.
Like just the colors of it, you can kind of tell, like the colors of it do a really good job giving you a feel for like
it does have like a fairy tale-ish kind of look to it.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Little bit Walking Dead-ish,
like a magical forest kind of soft lens thing. I don't know if I'm using right words or not.
Yep, works for me. You're helping, so it works for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about the like, you know, the podcast listeners and not the YouTube folks. That's why I'm trying to like describe pictures.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a better podcaster.
Yeah.
And if you're not into stories about mythical creatures and post-apocalyptic suspense dramas, I knew I was gonna have so much fun trying to like read that back. It was great. Anyways, we just finished the final season. It didn't end with as much of a bang as I'd hoped, but the 5th and final season of Atypical on Netflix. Have you guys watched Atypical? Really good.
No.
So we just finished it. So it's a comedy drama. It's a really screwed up family, but how they sort of work through their lives. One of the kids happens to be on the autism spectrum, and it focuses on him. That's where the name Atypical comes from. It focuses on the main character, Sam. But it's a really good comedy drama, family drama, just slice of life kind of series. And, and it's all about the main character and his sort of, his love for the Arctic and penguins, and then sort of dealing with everything around him that's not stuff that he loves, and just figuring out the world around him. And it's really good. It's sweet and it's sad, and sometimes people need something less post-apocalyptic to watch. So I say that for the listeners, and also so people know that I don't just watch Marvel and Star Wars, which is mostly true, but we do watch other things. But because I like to recommend things that are also finished, so people can go binge the whole thing. And it's not like, go check out the first season, even though I'm not sure if this series is going to be good, and who knows when it'll end, and if it'll get canceled, and if it'll whatever. So all 5 seasons are on there. Go have a ball.
Comedian Michael Rappaport as the dad.
Yes, an Atypical.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I think he was the only face that I remember that I was sure that I knew going into the series.
You mentioned penguins, so don't make too much fun of me and my half boy, half deer. So,
well, he's into just actual animals like penguins, like into normal animals, not mythical ones or mutated ones. But it is a good series. And is Sweet Tooth? Is it feel long? Is it like a short, quick, you can watch it in and out? Do you have to think about it? Do you have to be in a mood for it?
Here's what I just thought of. If anybody saw the newest, the Puff the Magic Dragon, the live action, Pete's Dragon, not Puff the Magic Dragon.
Yeah.
Pete's Dragon, like how it has the Lumineers music in it. Like tonally, it's very much like that. There's 1 season, 8 episodes. If you like Walking Dead, if you like fantasy, if you like wondering, like anything that's like the lighter side of post-apocalyptic, you would absolutely enjoy it.
All right.
The lighter side of post-apocalyptic.
I don't know, man.
That's niche.
Also, do you guys know anything about Rick and Morty?
I recognize them, but I don't think I've ever actually watched it, but I've seen them mimicked on various things.
It's almost like to the point where I'm so tired of the memes and everybody telling me how absolutely hilarious it is that I just have to check it out. So yeah. I'm watching that. I'm also still watching Letterkenny and loving Letterkenny. They're going on tour, by the way. So that Canadian show that Dillon tried and didn't love. But yeah, I hate having so many things going at once. And I also love it because depending on what mood I'm in, I can just do just that. Right. And then I'm still watching my, bushcraft stealth camping YouTube videos. Kendall, the one you told me about the guy staying in the median of the highway, stealth camping.
Oh yeah. Steve Wills or Steve something.
Yeah, I watched it today. So I still watch the bushcraft outdoorsy stuff, and we got to give him a shout out. That was really cool.
That dude, he's the sweetest guy on YouTube.
So nice.
You would just feel good. Steve Wallace.
Yeah, Steve Wallace.
Wallis. Steve Wallace.
There's a lot of screen
search him on
sharing.
YouTube and
whoa.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Steve Wallace.
No, he's a guy that I would love to maybe get on our show and just talk to. It'd be fun to talk to. There's a couple others. So on YouTube, I started following Stephen Lim, which he's if anybody. I think it's a BuzzFeed. There's these videos that go on YouTube that you've probably seen before if you haven't clicked on them, but they hit 3 different price points. They go to 3 different restaurants, and they're like, okay, we're gonna try a $2 burger, we're gonna try a $15 burger, and then by the way, we found this $6,000 burger, and we're gonna try all 3 and tell you what we think about them. And anyway, so there's the guy who kind of runs that line of episodes for BuzzFeed. That was Stephen Lim, and I recently found out that he lives in Columbus, and so I started following him specifically on YouTube because I love food videos. I loved those videos, and I've been watching for years, and so now I'm stalking and trying to wait for the proper courting situation to where I can ask him to come onto the podcast. And
you have really good YouTube taste, because when you recommended JCS Criminal Psychology, I got hooked on that, and now Lily is watching it. She's fascinated by the tactics that the detectives use. And I'm like, does she know this because she wants to know how I'll know when she's telling the truth or not?
Probably, yeah. It's if my dad's learning this, I've got to learn it.
Exactly.
That's just the way this
goes. She's really into that. So yeah, man, all of your recommendations have been on point.
I tell you what, man, what I love are things that are hyper focused, and they're hyper focused on something that I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
And to listen to somebody who is passionate and very knowledgeable about something that I otherwise don't really care about is super interesting to me.
Yep.
That's why honestly, with a lot of the Marvel and Star Wars stuff, I love Marvel and Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But not nearly to the same level of fandom that so many of you guys are, including you and Dillon. And that's why it's so fascinating for me to hear you guys talk about it. I make jokes because that's what I like to do that. But honestly, when I say sometimes I feel like a third wheel, that's not, I don't mind being a third wheel in those conversations. I like listening to them.
That was episode 106, where you were first talking about JCS Criminal Psychology, and those videos are absolutely fascinating. I wish Dillon got kicked off again, but there's a show. I'm gonna look it up. They were a guest on Tiger Belly. I think it's called Fast Foodies. On the
I've seen something like that before.
Network it's on. It's on True TV. It's called Fast Foodies. It's culinary masters. Kristen Kish is the one that was on Tiger Belly, but they basically talk about how much they love fast food. KFC, Taco Bell, an Egg McMuffin, and they do 2 different. It's not a competition cooking show, but it's can we remake that thing? And I might be butchering the premise of the show. Can we remake it just based on what we know of it? And let me reimagine it with those same type of ingredients and the same flavor profiles, but in a super fancy dish.
Yeah.
So take an Egg McMuffin and then turn it on its head and then make it what would be a $60 plate at a fancy restaurant, right? And it's it seems really interesting. I haven't checked it out.
That concept is on fire right now on YouTube. And,
okay.
My favorite one is called Mythical Kitchen.
Okay.
Which this host is a guy named Josh. Are you familiar with Good Mythical Morning?
No.
Steve and Rhett?
No.
They're popular podcasters, YouTubers. But if anybody out there, I'm sure there's people out there who have heard of Good Mythical Morning and know who Steve and Rhett are. Am I getting there? I might even be getting their names wrong.
Rhett and Link?
Rhett and Link.
I know those guys.
Got Steve Wallace on my brain. Rhett and Link.
Okay.
From Good Mythical Morning. So they do all of these like food related games. And they have a lot of wacky things that they eat on that show. The guy who's making all of this weird stuff for them, his name is Josh, and has a spin-off YouTube channel now called Mythical Kitchen. He does all kinds of things, including that. And so he'll take, I think I shared a video with you guys once where he like did a Mountain Dew Baja Blast infused everything, like created a meal and everything had Baja Blast incorporated. He like made a Baja Blast reduction sauce and
nice.
Does all kinds of crazy things like that. But he'll try to, he tried to make a Gordon Ramsay style beef Wellington using only things he could find at a 7-Eleven.
That's awesome.
Anyway.
Yeah, Dillon's back. You missed it, bro. I was just talking about a show called Fast Foodies where like culinary masters try to recreate popular fast food chain dishes like Taco Bell and McDonald's, like, you know, sausage egg McMuffin, but then they reimagine it and elevate it, right? And then try to make like a super fancy version of that thing that might be in a different, it might be a pasta version of a bacon, egg, and cheese. And it's on True TV. It's called Fast Foodies. And Kristen Kish was the one. She's one of the chefs. She was on Tiger Belly this past week, and I thought you would enjoy that. This is like an episode full of recommendations. I love it.
It is.
Yeah. We're in like the golden age because we get to watch everyone try everything. And you can just pick and choose. I didn't even know they were making another G.I. Joe movie until like a week ago. And it's called Snake Eyes. And it snuck up on me like a ninja. Didn't even know. And it's in theaters already. Like, this is incredible. So exciting.
It's kind of weird. Like, there used to be 4 channels, right? Like, that's the whole joke. Like, everybody was watching the same stuff. Now there's all these avenues and things that, like, you almost need podcasts and like review shows to just know what's even worth, like, let somebody else sort through all of it. Somebody else can tell me what's halfway decent or interesting because I know them and I know their tastes a little bit enough to know that they make decent recos. But yeah, you need somebody else to like sort through the stuff. So that's what we're trying to do here, people. We're trying to let you know the things we've seen, skimming the top of the interwebs and Netflix and streaming services, and letting you know what we think is decent.
And I think that's the beautiful part about following along with any kind of podcast or show like this for any amount of time, because at some point somebody's going to relate more like to you, Kory, or to Kendall, or to me, and say, "Oh, if Kory likes it, I like almost everything that Kory likes,
except for that Sweet Tooth show." What the hell,
friggin' Sweet Tooth? But you start to sort of relate to certain personalities and go, "I'm gonna probably really like that." And so that's kind of the fun of why we not only do we enjoy talking about shows and sort of having a laugh about whatever's going on, but we can also recommend things to each other and to all of you. And then there's the internet where there's a video of a girl taking off on a roller coaster and immediately a bird just hits her in the face. And it's so funny. I'll try to share it in our From the Middlers Facebook community page.
This probably isn't the question to ask live while we're recording, but like, are we allowed to like play a clip and review it together?
Yeah, we could totally do that.
Yeah. Can you send it, Dillon? Or does it have a name?
Let me try to figure it out while we're talking about other stuff.
Kendall, when you were talking about trying to make a beef Wellington from products that you can get from a 7-Eleven, I've talked before about Fowler's Makery and Mischief. Fowler was the guy who survived 87 days on a lone. And he did a challenge where he was going to try to survive on this tiny island on a lake using only $100 worth of products from a Dollar General. So he had to get rid of all of his normal EDC. So he couldn't use any of his normal EDC. So like fish hooks, he couldn't use them.
Yeah.
he had to use safety pins from Dollar General, but he couldn't spend more than $100. What's so funny?
Okay. All right. Dillon found the video apparently, and he's cracking up over here.
The more you watch it, the funnier it is.
What do I search? What do I search?
He texted a link.
I messaged it to you. The more you watch a reaction, the funnier it is.
That doesn't help me when I'm.
We need to get the video up on the thing.
Running screens. Just what's it called?
I don't know. It's not a.
Is it on Reddit?
Yeah.
Did I see it's a Reddit link?
Yeah.
We'll cut this part out.
We're not supposed to be stalling.
So now I can. This is fantastic listening.
It's so good. I'm just.
It's all hyped up now, and Does it have audio? Like, are people pod?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't.
It matters for the people who are listening on Apple Podcasts, which is most.
No, they're just gonna have to go to YouTube. I don't know what to tell them. It's worth it.
So go watch it.
Here we go.
I'll try to.
Is that it?
No, that's not it. No.
Oh man.
I'll try to share it. I'll try to share it on all of our channels.
That was true. I was hoping anyway. We'll have to do it later.
Yeah.
Okay, so just watch it and then watch it on our Facebook.
I have to. Dillon died for a solid 3 minutes. He could not talk. And now he's back to put the video away, Dillon.
I can't.
Oh, goodness gracious. Take a Stello, would you?
I don't want to dampen this high.
Oh, that's great.
Anyways, well, I'm sorry you don't have a messaging platform to be able to see it. I can't airdrop it to you or any of that kind of stuff.
Hey, speaking of birds, Kendall.
Oh,
what's going on with Mimi? Are you guys going to have to get rid of her? What's up with that?
I'm like 99.9% positive that we're getting rid of the bird. If we could get rid of her tomorrow, I would. But I mean, we told them this is a foster situation, so in a way, it's kind of a dick move if you don't keep the bird for the 2 months that you signed up for. But yeah, no, she just. I mean, if we didn't have kids, it wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
but we don't want anybody getting hurt, so.
That makes sense. All right, I finally got it, folks. So those of you that have waited with bated breath, let me finally share the screen.
They're all going to learn. They're all going to find out how dumb.
Is this it?
Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
Wait, her shit. She's.
It's so good when you keep watching it.
Okay, it's funny. But I'm not.
Like right there, it's like it's hugging her. And she's trying
it's like it's holding on.
And she's trying to figure out, wait, what is this? You can see her mouth. It's a bird.
She doesn't even know yet. So funny.
Okay.
So she's like on a slingshot ride.
Just leave it on repeat. Just leave it on repeat. It's worth it.
So for people who are just using their ears and wondering what is going on, we have a girl who looks like she's on like one of the slingshot rides at a local fair, and she takes off, and a pigeon looks like flies right into her neck, and then was like stuck there, wings spread out, and doesn't go anywhere, and she has to like grab the bird and then throws it off to the side.
And then her reaction after it's dawning on her what's just happened, and she's still on a ride.
Yeah.
So it's so good.
I guess
Right here she goes, there's a bird.
Yeah.
There's a bird. Oh, that's great.
It's Boulevard to keep your mouth
Well,
open.
that's why you close your mouths on rides like that.
Oh my goodness.
And
Sorry
wear
for
safety
that. Was like
glasses.
a whole
Well,
10-minute bird excursion.
I think that's the end of this episode.
Hey, man, it's we had to end it somehow,
Yeah.
and I think we made it obvious where.
Yeah.
do you know what I love though about the phrase the middle?
What's that?
Not only does it save you 10% on every order from Stello Mints, it also saves you 25% off your first order from Artius, man.
Those two magic words as
The
one.
middle
word.
is a wonderful phrase.
middle.
So head on over to Artius Man, ARTIUS man.com. Awesome men's grooming, skincare, candles, lifestyle products, a whole bunch of awesome stuff there. 25% off your first order is huge. So go take advantage of that because they make incredibly good stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of good stuff, let us know if you check out any of the things we recommended. Let us know your thoughts. It's been a fun one. Thanks for tolerating this round the horn of just catching up and hanging out with one another. It's been fun. Be sure to tune in next week. Our episodes drop every Wednesday. Thanks, guys. We out.